Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Teacher Kasey, and the channel name is now Teacher Kasey. We've switched that from VIPKid Teacher Kasey since I feel like we talk about a little bit of many different platforms. So we decided to change the name so that others would know. Let me know. Can you see me okay? Can you hear me? Hello, Harvetta. Thanks for coming. Um, we have had some storms this morning, so I'm hoping my internet stays. I am plugged into the Ethernet. Actually, the storm, we actually went in the laundry room this time, and we've never done that before, but we did have tornado warning. And a lot of times we just kind of watch and sit there and wait it out. And this time we're like, it was swirling pretty good. I think we might lose a little tree in our front yard, but the weather has died down a little bit, so I am here, but if I leave, you know why. All right. Yes, thanks for coming. Rebekah said hi. Breakfast time over here. Nice. My husband made some lemon blueberry muffins from Kodiak. I love lemon and blueberry, lemon poppy seed, any of those. So, hey Meredith, thanks for coming. So I just want to talk today about learner safety or teacher safety, basically safety regarding Outschool. I do have a lot of notes printed out here. If you have questions and I don't know it, maybe I can look it up here or look it up later. I think Outschool does a pretty good job of keeping things in a safe environment. And I want to know your thoughts as well. Other companies I've worked for or work with do not have all of these things in place. For example, Outschool has a safety team. So if you are seeing something that's happening in someone's home, you can report it to the Outschool safety team. They really look into classes, especially if you have a subjective kind of class. Cameras can be on or off, but they have to be on at the start to see the student to make sure that we have the correct student groups, right? You don't want some 40-year-old person signing up saying they're a kid and then, so basically you should see the student ahead of time unless they've already coordinated with Outschool ahead of time. So they do have some things in place to keep safety in mind. So what are your thoughts? Do you guys have any thoughts about Outschool and their safety policies? Let's see, some things while I'm checking the chat, some things that they say about their, can you hear the thunder? Okay, so some things that they say teachers are required to have their cameras on while teaching a live class. I think that should be a given. As the teacher, you should be present and supervising your meeting at all times. We have talked about this before. You don't want to leave the students unattended, even for a short amount of time. You just never know. A good rule of thumb is to always be seen on the screen, right? So whether you're screen sharing something else, maybe you can have yourself in that little box. I won't get into how to do that now. I know my friends have some good videos on that. I think Rebekah has one also with using like a document camera and things. So you can go check her out. Her channel is Rebekah F. Ensure that all learners have their videos enabled, or if they don't, that you've interacted with them at least once over video to verify their identity. So it says this can be a quick check-in at the beginning of the class meeting. We encourage learners to enable their video and audio during the rest of the class to create a more social experience for all learners, but it's not required. Some learners feel safer with video off. If you've never before seen a learner on video and they're unable or unwilling to enable their video, please gently explain the policy. Let them know you'll follow up after class and remove them from the class. So for you as a teacher, that is something you can do if you cannot verify their identity. Parents are able to listen into class at a reasonable distance from their learner or watch the recording later, but it's against Outschool's policy for a parent to listen in or watch class from a separate device. I didn't know that. I know a lot of the students in VIPKid, some of their parents watch from a different device in another room. So I thought that was really interesting. And then, of course, if a safety-related incident occurs during one of your classes, contact Outschool support immediately to let us know, and that's safety@outschool.com. They do go into giving some examples about things. Like if your class requires certain materials or things that could be potentially dangerous, scissors, cooking, things like that. You want to make sure to designate some time at the beginning of class to go over what the students are using and how to use them correctly. Um, let's see. So I thought that was really good. And one of a good rule of thumb, another good rule of thumb, right, is when you are teaching sensitive topics, be ready in case a student has some type of reaction to what you are teaching, right? Um, for example, let's see, it says, I had something I wanted to tell you about this. So if your class involves a discussion on like how to cope with anxiety, it may trigger an emotional response. You should first make sure that your learners are equipped with the right skill set to participate in these conversations. In order to set the right expectations for prospective parents, you should also include this information in parental guidelines. So you want to be prepared for what may come up. Okay, so if you're talking about anxiety, well, a student may get anxious during your class. How can you handle that? What kind of things can you do to prepare? Hey, James, thanks for coming. Good evening, he says. So, how are you doing? How's the weather there in Vietnam, James? It is kind of yucky here right now, but it's all good. I think the wind is dying down. Learner behavior. So, another thing, as a teacher, you may encounter situations in which a learner's behavior merits special attention. So, maybe they appear to be bullying other students or behaves inappropriately. So what can you do? We ask that you share any concerning incidents with Outschool support, and we will work with you to resolve them. So that may involve helping to contact the learner's parents or something like that. So, oh, it's very rainy there too, James. Yeah. Let's see. So if you believe that a learner's safety is in jeopardy, have them call 911, of course, if it's that, and contact safety@outschool.com. So they're just ways to make sure they're little things we can do to make sure our students are safe, right? In the classroom setting, I feel like if I notice something, then there is, places I can go, people I can talk to check in on this student. But when you're online, it's like, well, what do I do, right? Well, you can contact Outschool at safety@outschool.com and let them handle it. They can check into it. They can look at past videos. They can look at the video from the class that you're seeing something in. And then it's a sense of relief towards you or for you to feel like if there is something going on, you have relayed it to the proper people to look further into it. It doesn't mean that they're going to contact the parents or anything, but they can go back and look and see if they notice the same thing. James said, I lost a printer and monitor. The house I'm in now, the roof cracked. Oh no. James, I'm so sorry. And you guys are almost out of there. I'm sorry to hear that. He lost a printer and a monitor yesterday. Ugh. We are sitting in a tornado warning, but I think it has expired now. We did go, I was telling them earlier, we went to the laundry room. And we've never done that before. Normally we're just like, but the wind was really swirly and there's a tree. It's kind of small in our yard and it was really bendy. So we're like, Okay. A big thing for one of my students has been learner privacy. And I understand this, right? They didn't want their student on video. And I had to explain to them, it was very difficult for me to teach handwriting if I can't see their handwriting. You know what I mean? If I can't see their grip and things. So what we did was we decided to keep the video on. In every class she would email to ask to have that removed, and I was fine with it. Outschool ended up removing them all as well. And that's just something, one way we were able to handle it, right? I know as a parent, I didn't want my kids all over the internet either. And when my son went to the Little League World Series back when he was in the 10, 11 age group, he was all over the internet. I was like, oh, little bit different situations, but it's just really odd to see your kid on somebody else's camera or somewhere else that they can be viewed. Let's see. So, as an Outschool teacher, you are also responsible for maintaining learner privacy online. So, basically, we all know this. It's their personal information. You may not share it. Um, their name, their birth dates, things like that. That's their personal information. Let's see. Rebecca said, I love that Outschool has that safety email. Haven't had to use it, but glad it's there. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I'm not sure that we're mandatory reporters like we are in the brick and mortar classroom, but I just think it's nice to be able to, if I see something, I can say something and possibly help a student. Let's see. If you would like to share any completed student work, such as a student essay or art project, you will need first to obtain parent permission. Since classes are recorded, it's also important to protect learner privacy on the screen. So in cases where the learners are on the screen, we may not share them on YouTube or anything without, we have to blur them out and things. I've never shared any of them. Um, they go on to talk about the Zoom features. You can mute students. You can, turn off their screens if for any reason. We did have an example of that, not in an Outschool class, but in a meetup that I was in. Um, People came in, jumped in the classroom, and it was just not cool. It was disgusting. Let's see. Whenever I share a screenshot of my class, I cover their face and name. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the best rule of thumb. There's no reason to actually put their picture. I think a fun little smiley face will be okay. Like, hey, look, my class is happy. um, yeah, I just think it's their choice, and if you haven't asked for permission, then you shouldn't be sharing it. So I agree with that. Let's see. Exchange contact information. Basically, they want you to keep everything in-house and Outschool, and that helps Outschool to keep a safe environment, right? If you're not sharing your information outside of Outschool, they're not sharing theirs. So they want you to keep it all in-house. No, okay, so if parents want to contact other parents, they can go to a For Parents tab on the classroom page. So, because sometimes it's like, oh, can you tell this student they're invited to a birthday party or an online birthday party or something? And as a teacher, I'm like, I don't know that I can share that. So there's an area, I guess, for parents. Rebecca, have you seen that area where parents can contact other parents in the class? Maybe you and Kim should try it out in my classroom. We can see if it works. James said, when I was a teacher in the schools here, I saw something on a kid, I'd report it. I got blown off here. That's a bummer. Yeah, it's a big difference. And, some places here too, you would, but I think we definitely take it more seriously sometimes, at least in the school that I used to work at. We've had to say stuff before. Online tools. I would say if you are using YouTube or any other kind of tool like that outside Outschool, make sure you view it properly from beginning to end, and there's no pop-ups or anything that shouldn't be in there for your students. Yeah, we did have a situation back when my kids were in school where the teacher put on a video. It was in their Japanese class. And the video showed some adults doing adult things on this kid video. It was a preview from another movie. And I was just like in that classroom, and I'm like, actually, this was not even in my classroom. It was in my son's kindergarten class. And so they came home and they're like, Mom, we saw this on TV. And I'm like, what? So contacted the school. And yeah, the teacher had played a video, put in a VHS. I'm dating myself. And there were some things on there that kids shouldn't be seeing. So make sure you preview any kind of content that you're going to put up in these classrooms. Yeah. I'm Now on one hand, I'm kind of glad it was my kid. And I mean, it was a whole classroom of kids, but I'm glad that mine said something to me and that we could address it and figure out what he was talking about because I had no idea. So yeah, we went to some of the other kids in the classroom and talked to the teacher, and it all worked out. But I would say, especially now, 20 years later, she probably would have gotten in a whole lot of trouble. Let's see. Any questions about safety? I feel like a lot of this is going to repeat itself. Payments. One of the Q&A questions was, are payments secure? Yes, payments are secured through our payments provider, Stripe. So they use Stripe, just like I never even knew what Stripe was until I started on Groove. So Groove, you can also use Stripe. So you can use your credit card, your Visa, MasterCard through Stripe. Debit cards, charter school funds at this time. If set up on a Mac OS or iOS device, you have the option to pay with Apple Pay from Safari. I didn't even know that. So we get paid on PayPal, but they can't pay on PayPal, as according to what I just read in their policies. We do not support PayPal as a payment method for Outschool classes at this time. There is a section if you want more information about payments on Outschool. You can go to like a paying for classes. Their FAQs are really good. I just type in something and it's pretty easy to find things. So let's see. There are some places that parents and teachers can go to for resources on like protecting kids' privacies. And one is Be Internet Awesome. I guess there's some tips on there. There's Safe and Secure Online. This resource is provided by a nonprofit. The Federal Trade Commission, Protecting Kids Online. You can go there for more information. Common Sense Media. I mean, if you go to Outschool and you check out their privacy things, you'll get a list of like a parent toolkit and all things, resources that you can use. James said, I told my wife that I refuse to teach young girls by myself. If I have a class of 4 teenage girls, I make her sit in the room to monitor. Yeah, and it just protects you as the teacher, right? It protects you from hearsay or things like that as well. So yeah, I could see that too. I think you're not alone in that. I think there are definitely other male teachers that go through that too. As a kindergarten teacher, I had 21 kids in the classroom, and we had the teacher and an aide. At one point, I was the aide, but then I got my degree and I was the teacher. So we always had 2 teachers in our classroom too. I was very fortunate. And that's not just for help around the classroom, but for safety as well, right? Let's see. So that's all I have for safety. Does anybody else have anything? I think we're doing pretty good over here. I don't see any other question. Oh, Candy. Oh, I think that was for James. Yeah, renters insurance. So James, I'm sorry to hear about your computer and everything. Hopefully, things will look up. You've got that new house coming, things to look forward to. Twitterholic, thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming. We're just finishing up here. We just talked about online Outschool safety. And let me know what you guys think. Please give it a thumbs up if you think this information was interesting and could help others. Please share, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time. Happy teaching, everybody. Goodbye.